Well, Mitchell has shared with us how engaged youth want to be specifically, and being encouraged to be a part of their process, which we absolutely love because it's so totally necessary, so completely necessary. And it doesn't matter where you are, where you live these days, which is fantastic. So we have a young lady here. Her name is Vivian Onano, and she is a global youth leader from Kenya. Currently, she serves as a youth advisor to the UN Women Global Civil Society Advisory Group and education spokesperson for Moremi, Africa. She is a firm believer in the potential of young people, as we all in this room are, I know, to create and implement sustainable change. Vivian has a vision and a dream, and she is going to share a little of that with us. Thank you, Vivian.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. I am so grateful to Myro and Ravi for the invitation to be here. I'm learning just as you are, so bear with me. What is your name again? Mitch. Oh, as Mitch has just shared, we have a platform, the World Youth Want. And as a youth leader, I believe we want a peaceful world, a world that's inclusive of each and every person, and a world where everyone has the ability and access to the resources to be able to achieve their full potential. And peace is a necessity for development, and vice versa. And we have the ambitious 17 proposed SDGs with 169 targets. And all these targets are not going to be, for them to be actually implemented, we have to make sure that we have realistic systems for the implementations of these goals. And young people have to be at the center of implementation. We have to be at the table during the discussions, and also we have to be involved in the field where we have to implement these goals. And our ideas and our solutions have to be taken into consideration and incorporated where possible. Africa youth between 15 and 25 represent more than 60% of the population on the continent. And the total population accounts for 45% of the total labor force. But on the sad note, it is estimated that 133 million young people on the continent are illiterate. This is more than 50% of the total youth population on the continent. And without an education, you don't have a voice. Without education, you have limited or no skills at all. And this limits your participation on important issues such as the Sustainable Development Goals, or just improving the socioeconomic status of your community or your country, or even at a global level, engaging with global leaders and other like-minded people. So I think education and access to education is going to play a very, very critical role in the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals. And we must make sure that the access to education is inclusive of everyone. And young girls have to be given this opportunity. It's very frustrating that up to today, the young girls who were abducted in northern Nigeria have not been rescued. And why were they abducted? Because of education. They were trying to create a better life for them. They were trying to create the world they want for themselves, and they were denied that opportunity. We have to make sure that that doesn't repeat. And for that not to repeat, you have to make sure that we bring those girls back. And I know that's a process that everybody else is concerned about and everybody else is working on. But we have to make sure that education and schools are safe haven for children. The other day, kids were attacked in Pakistan. I mean, it is unfortunate that right now parents has to make the decision whether to take the child to school or whether to stay with the child at home so that she can be assured that she's going to see her daughter or her son at the end of the day. We can't continue like that, because then you're going to continue the world that is literate. And when people are uninformed, or when people don't have the access to knowledge, or when people don't, because lack of access to knowledge that we can have young people participate on platforms such as the World We Want or the World Youth Want. The 7 million votes is because they had access to technology. And access to technology means they had some education that was able to influence the kind of decisions that they made when participating on this campaign. And we want to make sure that all young people have that access. All young people can have their voices heard. They all can come to UN, but they can be able to participate in their communities or in the local areas that they're coming from. And how do you make that possible? As leaders, we have to push for access to quality education for everybody, and we have to make sure that schools are safe havens for children, so that we don't have to make a choice between a child staying at home for them to be safe, or go to school and the mom worries or the dad worries the whole day whether they're going to see their child or not. So security and peace is very, very integral in the whole process. And lack of peace, we can't achieve development. And lack of development also, lack of inclusive development leads to social unrest. So we have to all figure that in. And you have to make sure that we don't leave our young people out. Because if you leave them out, you're leaving a huge population. And we're looking at the Sustainable Development Goals with their 15-year plan. Young people have to be key players, because this is the life we are going to live. This is our life. So if we are not involved into molding our lives, then there's just no way you're going to expect us to live it. Yeah, there's no way you're going to expect us to live it. So moving forward, and I'm happy that we are having this conversation, and I know we have the UN ECOSOC Youth Forum that's coming up in February, bringing young voices to the table, having young voices, having young people create the policies that they want. And I think that's where the platform, the World Youth Want, plays a very, very, very integral role. So these goals are our goals. Yes, they have been made by the global leaders, but they are our goals. Let us own them. Let us read through them and understand what exactly is expected. And also let us be realistic when it comes to implementation. We have to look at the human capital that we have in our communities, the access to finance, the access to skills and knowledge, the access to technology for us to be able to implement these goals. So I hope that when they propose them, but I hope that when it comes to implementation, it's realistic and we focus on each individual country. Let's not just put Africa, let's not just put Europe, because that's different countries, and each country has their own struggles, and they have the limit to their resources. So we also have to be inclusive of that when making the goals and also in the implementation. But I believe young people of today, we have the ability to participate effectively. And we want our space at the table, and we want our space when it comes to implementation.